What do you say we get this show on the road? How you doing, everybody? Happy Mental Health Monday. Thank you for joining me for episode 18, whether you're with me live right now or watching here in post. Appreciate you. As always, keep showing up. All right, we're going to have a little quick show tonight. Nothing too crazy. I got to keep an eye on the little one downstairs or with wifey right now, but, you know, that's a whole nother story in itself. We'll get to all of it. Thank you for joining me once again. And as always, keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was! Has this dream stopped?
I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Matty B, Epis Radio, episode 18. Believe in yourself. All right, that's what we're going with today. All right, that's what I that was the whole topic of discussion for the video of this mental health video of the week. We'll get into that. I'll show you that video coming up shortly. But again, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. It's been just a action-packed week for me. You know, obviously starting off on the new week here, but the weekend, the whole nine, just between, you know, all the football going on, you know, dealing with the kids here at home. Had some renovations done here at home as well, working on the bathroom, and then just being able to get prepared for this show today. You know, going out there, recording the mental health video of the week, getting settled in, doing what I gotta do. Oh, that's right, I did want to put a little background music on today. I want to try that out real quick. Let's see how that goes. If it's too distracting, let me know, but I think it'll be alright based on the levels that I got here. But, yeah, so I want to, you know, talk a little bit about believing in yourself. You know, I've been... you know, obviously, a lot of you guys know I've been training for a marathon coming up. Now it is 20 days away. Just 20 days away now, and I've hit a kind of a roadblock in my training and hurt myself a little bit. So I've been hobbling around a little bit the last couple of days, so it hasn't been easy for me, even just doing, you know, normal things around the house. You know, especially with the kids and all that, it's been a little hard to like keep up just because I've really been able to put very little pressure on my left side, and you know, I mean, just even lifting, you know, a box, or you know, one of the kids, you know, Charlie weighs at least 25 pounds, so you know, it's kind of tough. It's not easy. So I don't know if it has something to do with my hamstring, meniscus, have no idea. But, you know, I've been kind of nursing this injury a little bit. So, you know, naturally coming with that is some doubts, you know, some things that are going to creep up in the head, and, you know, being 20 days away from this marathon, you know, I'm easily starting to like doubt whether or not I'll be ready in time, whether or not I've, you know, done enough during my training, even though I'm pretty confident I have on that aspect of things. But I guess just because of the injury, it makes you think, and I guess the time that could be potentially lost leading up to this race, you know, is concerning for me. So something that's been plaguing my mind, and then some, you know, it was kind of drew a little bit inspiration for this week's mental health video of the week, which I'll show you guys shortly. So that's, you know, really just what I want to talk about is just believing in yourself and just, you know, we're our own worst critics all the time, you know, but like I referenced in the video, we are far more capable than what we give ourselves credit for. And you know, it's times like these that, you know, makes you stronger. You know, you get through this. You know, because I you know, although I may feel, you know, a little bit down about the possibility of this race or the outcome of this race, you know, in 20 days from now, you know, I could be, you know, I don't know, in 10 days from now, 15 days from now, I could be feeling great. Oh, Zero coming in with the raid. What's going on, bro? I feel like it's been a while, man, since we actually talked. Zero, what's going on? How was your stream, man? Thank you, everybody, for joining me from Shiv Nation. Appreciate you. Keep showing up. If you haven't done so, please follow. All right. We're talking a little mental health. We're just getting going tonight, actually. Just started. We are simulcast on Twitch and YouTube. So if you're interested in switching over to YouTube, not that, you know, you should leave Twitch by any means, but just putting the word out there. But what's going on, bro? How's your day? You know, how's everything? What you been up to? Anybody that is coming with this raid from Zero, again, appreciate you. And what were you guys doing? What you been doing all day? How's your mental health Monday? All right. How's the start of the week for you? Working? You playing some games? What are you doing? What are you doing right now as outside of hanging with me, with a good old Epis over here? Man. But good, man. I know you. I know Zero. You getting ready for the big move, man. I was talking with Jean about it. My aunt, for the viewers out there. My brother Zero over here is making a big move. Been doing a lot of renovations, so you know, I'm looking forward to coming down and seeing that. You know, the weekend was light. Is it finally slowing down over there at work for you? I'd imagine, you know, things are starting to, the slow season's coming, right? Like, that's it, yeah, after Labor Day. I know you cut your most of your hours anyway, so yeah. Yeah, fell off a cliff, I'd imagine, yeah. And the cold weather is like here already, you know, like it really feels like fall. So, you know, it's like, all right, now we might as well just move on to like ski season up there, you know. But it's like shoulder season, so it's a problem, you know. And everybody's back at school. Yeah, made less than $100 on the weekend total. Yeah, that's just, yeah, that's rough. At that point, you know, like play some poker online, you know, place a bet. Shit, I made over $100 placing a bet on some football. You know, I was like, I did nothing. I just sat in front of the TV, you know. Yeah, but you know, it's crazy, man. That sucks, you know. But you're a trooper for sticking through it and doing your thing. Let me ask you, since you're here, is the music too much, or should I lower it a little bit? I think it's all right. I don't want it to be like overbearing. So it's the first time I'm trying to go with some background music. I'm also, you know, I'm using a little lo-fi music off of YouTube. And, you know, I'm also live on YouTube, so I'm just checking it out to see, and it's, there's no issues, no copyright issues, so that's nice, you know. Yeah. Okay, volume is perfect. Alright, I liked where it was at. That was like what I first initially put it at, so I'm like, okay, I think that would be good, so thank you for that. Thank you for confirming. Alright. Since you guys are here, let's, I don't know, Zero, if you've seen it, but I did release this week's mental health video of the week. Believe in yourself. You're far more capable than you'll ever give yourself credit for. This is the time to dig in, put your foot forward, and make something of yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't lose faith. I know it's not easy. You might feel like you're a failure at times. It's okay. But just keep moving forward. Keep showing up. I got one more time for those. Believe in yourself. You're far more capable than you'll ever give yourself credit for. This is the time to dig in. Put your foot forward and make something of yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't lose faith. I know it's not easy. You might feel like you're a failure at times. It's okay. But just keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Alright, there you go. That was this week's mental health video of the week. A little harsh on myself saying that, thinking of myself as a failure sometimes. But, we'll get into that. Well, I'll explain as to why I said that. I also said a line from last week's video of the week, putting the foot forward, that whole phrase. That was basically a replay on that. I'm not very good. I'm just criticizing myself a little bit. So I need to vent that a little bit. But, oftentimes, again, 1 and 2 takes, so kind of a bit of a repeat on some phrases there, but from last week. But overall, great message. I love it. You gotta believe in yourself. And yeah, man, I mean, I think, for me, it's been easy to, pointing the finger at myself and saying, I failed at this, failed at that, like I said, we're all our biggest critics. We never give ourselves credit, to the extent that we should. And, we're far more capable of things that we don't even know is within us, as we're capable at times, so you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your ability. And I know it's not always easy. I know it's easy to be harsh on yourself, and failure and quitting is an easy way out. Oftentimes, pushing through those barriers and pushing through those walls, and in hard times is what makes you grow, and what makes you. But fighting through that is key, and the only way you're gonna do that is having that faith in yourself, and that you can, no matter what. When I comes to like my marathon approach, and now dealing with this injury. Last year I was dealing with something similar, where I was dealing with some like left hip inflammation that was impeding my running and things like that for quite some time, for a good month and a half leading up to the marathon. And I did what I had to do. I showed up on the nights even when I didn't want to, throughout, and trained while injured, which is not necessarily always a good thing, but it was laboring me, but it wasn't like, to the point where it was taking away my complete ability to, perform. So I stuck with it. And lo and behold, I finished my first ever marathon. Here I am a year later, different type of injury, but nonetheless, time to persevere. Time to believe in myself, time to move forward and understand that, okay, it's just not an easy road. There's gonna be some ups and downs. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. But it's easy to be hard on yourself. The last couple of days, I've just wanted, just wanted to like take a break and like, oh, like I don't know, what am I doing? Why am I here? Can I do it? It's just like all these things coming at you, and it's interesting, I was talking with a friend of mine about a dream that I was having, and she's types of persons that very spiritual. She's into like zodiac signs and energy and all that, and follows the phases of the moon, the whole nine. And she's explaining to me that like between I believe it was September 7th and September 9th, that there was like a rare like blood moon or something like that. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I can find it. Actually, hold on. I might have. Let me get the proper context for you guys, because it's interesting. I had a dream the other day, and it was a bit of a nightmare. It was after this conversation that I had with this friend of mine, and I'd followed back up with her, and I was like, hey, like this happened, and I thought it was a rather coincidence. Like, it was very interesting. And basically, what she was saying is like the part of like the phases of the moon. It's a time in which you have to release some energy, things like that. So I got the conversation up here right now. I'll keep her identity private, although I'm sure she wouldn't mind. But I don't know, for the sake of not knowing, maybe one day I could bring her on. She's like an energy practitioner. She actually has like an office here in Queens. So I could give her a plug. Maybe come on, talk about this type of thing. I'm not one into the whole zodiac thing or whatever the signs things like that. But I do find it interesting. And I do believe there's just a natural energy in this world, right? We're all from the same thing. Scientifically speaking, the whole dark matter thing. The whole nine. But just want to read it off. So she was saying how there's an eclipse and a full moon, and the energies are bringing up old patterns, beliefs, and ideas in people that need to be let go of. So I was like, okay, interesting. I'm not, I could get behind that. It's all right. And then all of a sudden, after that conversation I had with her, that night I have a dream. Very vivid dream, and it's interesting for me. I especially now with the kids. I also have an issue just staying asleep at night. I don't get very restful sleep, I feel like, anymore. Probably got an issue, something going on, but I do drink a lot of water, so especially at night. So maybe that's just really the problem, but I do wake up at times to go to the bathroom. I don't think I have like an issue otherwise, but maybe. I have gotten recently checked out with a lot of different doctors, so I'm okay. I'm doing all right. But other than that, like I don't really dream anymore. Like growing up, I felt like I used to go and dream and go into REM sleep like so much all the time. And as an adult now, it's very little. I would attribute it to just obviously not sleeping long enough and allowing my body and brain to go into that REM sleep. I mean, it's just, it has to be. And so this particular night, the other night, for some reason I was able to get there. I got a pretty deep sleep, and which is surprising in itself, because we have our newborn child, Cooper, in our room with us, and he is waking up every couple hours. Granted, my wife has been doing majority of that in terms of the night shift, because she is breastfeeding. But I somehow was able to get some sort of, and it was late. It was late in the morning too. It was like 6-7 a.m. because I woke up. I woke up about like 6, I would say, 6 a.m. from this nightmarish dream that I had, and it was a very interesting dream. The day before, or the day of the dream, I guess it's technically the day before because you're talking into the morning hours of the very next day is when I had the actual dream. But to me, same day. I had got into a back and forth with I guess a follower of ours on Instagram, about a sports topic. And at first it was coming off very negatively, saying that I had a bad take on something, and I just simply questioned the guy why, and we ended up going into a bit of a back and forth. Ended up being a nice conversation, I thought, and he actually ended up following the page at the end. But so I guess I turned the guy into a fan. But it was just interesting to hear somebody else's strong take, and kind of in that negative light, at least at first, because like I said, the guy did come around towards the end, and was being a bit more respectful, and coming from a more respectful place. And that night I have this dream where it was weird. Like, apparently I'm playing tennis. I'm at like somewhere, so I felt like Queens, but it was just a big park. Had several tennis courts laid out, and just people playing everywhere. And I look around, and most of the spectators that are watching me are presumably I would say not just people that I didn't really always get along with, or people that weren't like real good friends of mine, just more of acquaintances throughout the years, high school, and I believe some grade school friends in there. It's weird, there was a lot of and it's like grade school, like high school, and even some modern day like coworkers and like friends and things like that, like, or in like recent past years, not necessarily modern day. I don't think there was anybody like recently from my job now. I'm like, no. Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, that's right. It was somebody from an old job years ago, pre-pandemic. So I'd say about like 8-9 years now. So it's just weird. It was just real random faces that I just wasn't really expecting, and it was very negative energy. It was very bad energy. And then I just having this conversation with the friend of mine the day before about this full moon, and the energies are bringing up old patterns, beliefs, and ideas, and people that need to be let go of. And then here I am having this weird bad energy dream with faces that I'm familiar with, but not familiar with on a personal level. And it was just like, what, So what I did, it was just a lot of reflection, a lot of reflection. Wanted to see, like what this was about, and I still really reflecting, on it, and just trying to understand it. And that same friend had recommended like journaling, and which is something that I would like to do, and I'm definitely considering getting into it again, because journaling was something I did all the time growing up. I was talking with my wife about it today, how I used to do that all the time. And I have like old books and books. I mean, I journaled so much, man. As much as I like hanging out and talking with people, I was very much to myself at times, and that was one way of doing it. Was journaling, and loved it, absolutely loved it. It helped me cope with the loss of my father. It helped me, just get through the years of preteen and teenagehood, and young adulthood and all that. But I stopped at probably when I went to college. Those times after that, there were times where I would write a little bit again, and I would I'd do a little poetry. Even recently with here on the show, Epis Radio, I've released a series called A Note to Myself. So that's a part of me journaling. I started that basically while I was at work, on the job that I'm currently at now. My employer would love to hear that, right? Sitting around writing poems and shit instead of working. No, Nah, I believe, it would, just during my downtime, I, break out a notepad and start writing. And, again, that came at a time where I was, going through a lot in my personal life, at the time, so, dealing with issues with, my older son or what, things like that, like where it just helped, cope and, help me get me through it, with the loss of Shay, our son last year, helped me get through that a little bit. I did a note to myself about Shay, it's all these things are good. It's necessary, and who knows? I don't know. It could be a way to release those bad energies, if you believe in that. I mean, at the very least, help you feel good, help you get through it a little bit. It's you got to do something, right? Along with physical activity, it's a great way to do it. Endurance sports, great trauma killer. Yeah. Yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, I mean, like, just natural movement, obviously it's been documented, it's good for you. Any form of exercise is just gonna, help you, and journaling is just one of those ways, but time of reflection, whether you don't want to just, sit down and write, just time of reflection as well, or reflect on yourself, and something that my friend had recommended, and I mean, that's, something that I oftentimes do. Maybe reflect a little bit too much, get lost in the thought, get lost in the sauce a little bit. But I also think that's what makes me who I am, and I try to help others with that as well. I mean, again, I've grew up in a time where a lot of this was looked at as soft, or as just weak, and and I hear that all too much now with a lot of men, and young men and old men, and it's a very toxic trait in a lot of people that I see. But when I know they themselves really at the end of the day, are reaching out, silently, and trying to find, ways to get through their own, traumas or demons, or whatever it is, just dealing with one's emotion, and just don't have the proper outlet, or don't know how to express themselves properly. That's really the case oftentimes. And it gets masked with all this hatred or whatever it is, man. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to cry, man. It's even as a man, it's not like it's never a problem. I've tried to, I have 2 boys. Well, I have 3 boys now. Excuse me. I have 3 boys now, and my oldest, he's a bit of a toughie. He doesn't like to get too emotional, and I can see that. And it's like, all right, got an emotional dad, but I know there's a side, there's that caring side and loving side in him, and I see it, and it's again, I think it's a matter of just being comfortable in one's skin. I think the teachings are there. I think that but it's something that I think will come more with time, more with age, more with maturity. A lot of it is definitely age appropriate in him, and a lot of other people too. But you get some guys, adults. I have them, good friends that just in their 30s, 40s, man, just afraid to just get emotional, get in touch with their inner selves. I mean, it's been a thing forever. It's kind of sad at times. It's funny, it's funny because I love fucking with people like that, honestly. A lot of times I like getting underneath their skin in a good way, in a friendly way. as much as they do the same, just in more, toxic masculinity way. Yeah, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah. But yeah, like that's, these are things, man. These are things you gotta do. And going back to the original point of the show, about believing in yourself. Reflection is key in all that, and understanding, hey, it's, there are roadblocks to where you're trying to go. It's not always linear, it's not always just gonna be a walk in the park, and you're gonna have to deal with the ups and downs, and with the ups and downs comes with a lot of emotions. It comes with, could be, a lot of moments that stick with you. A lot of moments that stick with you in a more traumatic way, and leave a lasting impact on you long term. And you got to find ways, you got to find outlets to deal with it and talk about it. Otherwise, it's just going to manifest in a very negative way, and that's, you never want to let it get there. And it spills over into your relationships, your friends, family, especially if you have kids. They're just gonna feel, talk about energy, they're just gonna feel that energy coming from you, and it's not something you want to do. Not something you want the best for anybody, whether it's somebody, you're with a partner, friends, kids. It doesn't matter. You want to be the best for them, and when you're in a dark place because of traumas of the past that you haven't come to terms with, it's gonna reflect. It's gonna spill. Again, it took me long time to deal with that, with the loss of my father, and didn't help around those years, trying to just cope with that. A lot of other things were going on, and it just, that's where it manifesting kind of snowballed, because now even the simplest things in life, that, or not necessarily say the simplest things, but something that might come up as otherwise, if everything's good, might not be as much of an issue, right? Not feel as much of a burden on you. But when you have something so huge weighing on you already, and then getting hit with all these other obstacles that are now in your way, it really weighs heavily on you, tenfold. And again, that can just manifest in so many ways, and be debilitating, and it's hard. But doing these types of things, talking about them, journaling, just simple reflection, taking some time out of your day just to think about how you're feeling, what's going on, how you're feeling about, future, past, present, whatever it is. You got something going on, with a friend, family member, talk about it, reflect, and, say, hey, how can I do better? Or, just what do you think about this? It's having these conversations, man, or just being mute and just going throughout your day, and, kind of being robotic in that sense, and just not really giving yourself time for proper reflection. It's gonna manifest, man. It's gonna manifest in a negative light for sure. Indeed. All right. I probably don't have much longer here tonight for you guys, folks. It's been fun. It's been a nice little chill mental Monday. Riding solo tonight, of course. definitely check us out here at Epis Radio during the week. We got a lot of sports topics to be talking about over at Epis Sports. All right, seemingly looking like the YouTube stream is back up and running again. Looks like, let me just double check right here. It has been, yes. It has been running smooth all night. So that's a good thing. So those of you that are also want to hear from the sports side of things, to definitely tune in this week. I will be going live. I got to check in with my co-host W. DeWan and see if he's available for some sports shows this week. I got to check out his work schedule and things like that. But a lot of topic going on in the sports world. Things, football obviously concluded week 1. New York football just as much in the garbage as it has been over the years. And the Mets continue to fall baseball-wise. Yankees, though, look like a World Series juggernaut and a lot more. So do check in with us later in the week. If you haven't already done so, go check out the last episode, little NFL predictions. And if you didn't check out the previous Mental Monday episode, not the Mental Weeklies, but the Mental Mondays with episode 17, go check that out as well. I'll replay this week's mental health video of the week. And then, again, I'll kind of like recap that a little bit. If I could think of any other topics. I know it's pretty much what I want to touch on today. There was, I think, one other thing I did want to touch on as well. But I pretty much covered it, in terms of the whole believe yourself thing. And I did want to, talk about that dream and all that. It was very interesting. I got to look into my sleeping patterns though, and make sure I'm getting a proper sleep, or maybe it's something I'm not doing or something I need to be doing. I don't know. Because if I'm only dreaming once in every I would say a couple of times a year, maybe. I don't know, like 2 or 3 times a year. I don't know. It's not hasn't been not very consistent. That's probably really bad. I don't know. Is everybody dreaming every night? Is that a thing? I don't know. But for me, it's not. All right. Let me get this video up for you guys. Believe in yourself. You're far more capable than you'll ever give yourself credit for. This is the time to dig in, put your foot forward, and make something of yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't lose faith. I know it's not easy. You might feel like you're a failure at times. It's okay. But just keep moving forward. Keep showing up. All right, one more time. Believe in yourself. You're far more capable than you'll ever give yourself credit for. This is the time to dig in, put your foot forward, and make something of yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't lose faith. I know it's not easy. You might feel like you're a failure at times. It's okay. But just keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Alrighty. There's this week's mental health video of the week. If you haven't already done so, please go give it a like and share whatever you can do. Please, we appreciate it. Help that algorithm keep that ball rolling. All right. One thing I did want to bring up for future episodes is really getting you guys more involved. Getting you guys on here, finding a way finding a way for you guys to join in on the lives a little bit more and getting involved, or even coming on the show, making an appearance and talking about something that you just want to talk about, whether it be your own personal life, you have any questions for us, or something you've been, we talked about a lot, or reflecting today, something you've just been reflecting upon that you think might be a good topic of the show, even just proposing the question for us and letting us talk on it. We could, pre-record, we could, go live, things like that. I'd really want to reach out to people, see, and get you to interact more. However that is, whether we got to do polls, things like that. I don't know. Get a fun little ways for you guys to join in on us on the show. I mentioned a while back that we were gonna give away some shirts. I still have a lot of those shirts, so that is definitely happening. I have a show in mind already, so details will be coming out very, very soon about that. Okay, so again, I'm trying to find a good time slot for those that would be available. I know the summertime, now that it's over, viewership, be up a little bit. That mid to end of summer is a time where, everybody's doing things, vacation, yada yada. So it's like, getting you guys here on the live, it's tough. Winter time, is definitely more of a time where, we see more traffic on the platforms. So, I think we'll have a date very, very soon for you. I'll just keep it, keep notified for that. So, again, thank you for showing up as always. Whether you're joining us live tonight, thank you Zero for the raid. Appreciate you, brother. And going forward again, I think the goal is to get you guys on here and you guys talking more, and whether it be with call-ins or making live appearances. We could do pre-recorded stuff, the whole nine. Want to get some guest speakers on, some more guest speakers. I know we've had some guest speakers in the past. That's definitely in the pipeline as well, and all different types. It doesn't really matter, and even for you, anybody out there that wants to come on, you're doing something, you got a business, you got you're an artist, you want to promote your music, whatever it is, we would willing to have you. We would love to have you, and just end up having a good conversation and good discussion overall. So that's it for me tonight. Again, I appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, go subscribe right now. Go check out Epis Radio on all social media platforms. Excuse me, got a little burp there. Check us out on all social media platforms. All right, and that's it. All right, so again, we will be back with Epis Sports this week, and we'll be back with Mental Mondays with Epis next week as well. Check us out for that. Pretty much should be same time, 10 p.m. Eastern. All right, on Monday for episode 19. All right, it's your boy Matty B, Epis Radio. Keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was. Has this dream stopped?
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. And hope you find some kind of peace of mind.
Well, all right. Have a good week, everybody. I'll see you next week. We'll talk to you next week on Mental Mondays with Epis. Keep showing up.
Find some kind of peace of mind. Hi, buddy.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. It's Epis Sports Radio. It's your boy Matty B. It's my daughter Mavis. Until next time. Epis Radio.